Hello everyone, welcome to Credential Up Houston. My name is Margaret Ford Fisher. Well, today I'll be talking with two very outstanding professional women who are playing a key role in education, in business, and in industry in Houston. We want to know more about their companies, and we also want to know how they work with their clients and how they inspire others. And so joining us today are Ms. Debra Seale, who is the People and Projects Program Director for EAG. And we also have Ms. Lee Mitchell, who is the Senior Recruiter with Optimus. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank
so
you.
Delighted that both of you are here. In fact, it's really rather interesting how we met at the Petroleum Club and an event that both of you hosted and facilitated. It was just really outstanding.
Thank you.
So in getting to know you and finding out about the nature of your business, I thought it would be excellent to have an opportunity to talk with you because I'm sure your stories will inspire others. So again, thank you so very, very much. So Ms. Seale, tell us just a little bit about your company, EAG.
Yes, thank you. So EAG, we are an oil and gas services company. We do outsourcing services for both the back office and IT, and also projects and services related to all those accounting systems and just everything that makes the oil and gas industry work from the back office standpoint. So we've got consulting side, we also do app support with that, and the company has continued to evolve. So company was founded in 2003 by Elizabeth Gerbel, and the initials, EAG, are her initials. It's really funny because people tend to try to work energy in there or come up with some other acronym for it. No, it is legit her name, and but we're very proud of that. And she is too, as she should be. So she founded the company, initially just her, and then it has grown since then and expanded all of the services. So started out with consulting. In 2017 was when our outsourcing practice started, survived and went through the pandemic. That actually helped expand the outsourcing side of the practice.
Well, you know, that's really very exciting because I read about the president and CEO and how she started the company. Really very, very courageous at the time that the company was started. And you are also known as one of the great places to work.
We are.
That culture is really outstanding.
We are.
So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
And you know, interestingly, both of you are in the business of working with people. And you are a senior recruiter, and both of you are involved with consulting companies as well. So tell us about your business also, Ms. Mitchell.
Sure. So I work for Optimus. We were started in 2004, so around the same time. Also founded by really strong women. So we're founded by two women who knew there needed to be a change in the industry. We focus mostly on the commodities trading side of the business when it comes to oil and gas, and helping all commodities, so power, gas, crude, agriculture, whatever you need, wind, we got it. And so they started doing the recruiting side of that business, helping people find the right people to help do these jobs. And then a couple years later, they brought in a third partner, and she started a consulting practice with us. So we have an energy consulting practice, and then last year we kicked off a treasury consulting practice, helping do treasury work. So there's a lot of facets that we touch. We were basically founded because we knew the women that founded the company were in the industry. They were traders themselves. They ran the back office of commodity shops and knew that it was hard to find the right people. And they said, we see a problem, let's find a solution. And so we're fit for purpose. Whatever you need, we can help you find it. And we also come in and help you with workforce planning. So how do you build your company? We've helped companies relocate from other parts of the United States to Houston, trying to bring business here. And then we've also helped even just implement new systems to help them run smoother. So we touch about every part. We call it the full vertical of the commodities business.
And that's really rather fascinating because you're making reference to other businesses, some that might be having some difficulties, some that may not have the staff, other personnel to address some of the issues, particularly in commodities and oil and gas and so forth, as both of you are focusing on. So how do you go about identifying those companies to bring them into your organizations to provide the consultant services for them? Ms. Seale?
Yeah, so we have our business development team that is really out there networking, making sure we have are establishing and building those relationships. We also work with a lot of the private equity companies as they're standing up and working with startups. So a lot of our business has been with startups and on that M&A side. So when a company's starting and just getting going, we've been there. I've been one of the people there on the ground, being there, helping get the systems established, rolling that data in to their environment so that they can get up and running, because there's usually a very small window and time frame on those. And then with the outsourcing side of it, just helping supplement exactly where a company needs. We are a slice and dice outsourcing. It's not a one size fits all. We recognize that every company has different needs. So some of that, we start with companies when they are in the G&A phase. So before they ever have their first big asset in oil and gas, so that we can be there, get the groundwork in and in place. So when they are ready to grow, we're there to help them do it.
Oh, fascinating, fascinating. In fact, we have a video, a 30-second clip, maybe just a little bit longer, about your company, and we'd like to just share that with public.
Awesome.
So we'd like for
Thank you.
everyone to please just watch this, and we'll be right back. Very exciting video. Thank you so very, very much. And I'm really curious to know, how does your business differ from EAG's, Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah, so we consider ourselves a little unique in how we do our business. When we find our customers all come from our network. So like I said, the three owners of our company came from the industry. And so now all of our customers either worked for them at one point in their career or worked with them, or we actually hired them into their roles. We were the recruiting company that got them into the roles they have. And so everything's been done through our relationships. And so really, one thing that sets us unique as well is that we have the industry knowledge. Everyone including myself, worked in a commodity trade floor on some level. And so we understand really what happens within those companies and what it's like to be on the floor of those companies. So then when we help them hire somebody or we go in and do the consulting work, we've done it ourselves, so we understand what their issues are and able to really relate to them and help them solve the issues, whether it's finding an employee they need to have, or it's helping them implement a system, or just, hey guys, we're trying to grow our company and we don't know what to do and what direction to go in.
Sure.
Heck, we're here for you,
Sure.
Yeah, it makes us a little unique and sometimes a little. We're pretty proud of it.
So how large are your companies? How many employees are there?
Oh gosh, we have about 30 employees at ours. And some of that includes also some contract people that do the consulting projects for us that are here for the project time.
I see. Very, very good.
Yeah, we're small.
And for EAG?
Yeah, we have 216 people now. We have grown quite rapidly the last couple of years.
Sure.
When I started at EAG 9 years ago, we had 35 people.
Oh my.
And so last year alone, we hired 129.
So is it rare to find women who are CEOs of companies of the kind that you are now employed with?
I don't think as much as it used to be.
Definitely not like it used to.
I think when we both started our careers, absolutely. It was, even I started at Accenture and finding female partners was tough.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's really exciting. We're going to continue our conversation in just a moment. We're going to take a brief break. And when we return, we will talk about how Ms. Seale and Ms. Mitchell got started in the business. So please stay with us.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of the city. They're committed to getting our students to their goals.
a 4-year degree.
Workforce training. A better life.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. My name is Margaret Fisher. We are having a conversation today with two outstanding professionals who are working in the business of consulting, and they're both focusing on recruiting and people and programs. So we were talking with Ms. Debra Seale and Ms. Lee Mitchell. So thank you very much for staying with us. And so with respect to people and programs, what does that entail?
Yes, so I am part of our HR team officially. I work through recruiting, onboarding, handle a lot of that HR back office stuff. But in addition, I'm over our internship program and our entry-level rotational program. So that's been really exciting, getting to utilize my consulting side and my background and getting to stand that up and develop new programs within EAG that help us grow and expand, because we are in some rapid growth.
Of course, absolutely. You're so right about that. There is tremendous growth. And I'm wondering, how did you get started?
So with EAG, they found me on LinkedIn. I tell everyone, I actually coach my interns on this. I'm like, make sure you're connected with everyone on LinkedIn. That is definitely some advice I give people. But yeah, our recruiter, who's now my boss, she started in recruiting for EAG as well, Cheryl, and she's now our director of HR, and reached out on LinkedIn. I happened to be taking a job somewhere else for personal reasons. It was when I was leaving Accenture. And called me a year later, and I said, you know what, I would like to get back into consulting. And so I started with EAG and consulting, worked my way up through the company and growing along with them and helping the company grow from that aspect, developing just some of our new toolkits, and our M&A toolkit was one of them, and really running that practice for a couple years as the vice president for a while, and then needed to make another shift and moved over into HR as the company grew. I was like, I can do this.
Right.
And it worked for me and it worked for them, and it's been a wonderful, year and a half since that change.
How exciting.
Yeah.
And of course, with both of you, you've had some history also
We
in working
have.
together.
Yes.
Both of you had worked for a previous company together.
Couple.
You had worked at EAG
I
as
did,
well.
I did, yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a tendency to work with strong women, I think.
I do say like finds like.
Yep.
And you tend to find the people that you work well with
Yes.
together, and that are like-minded and strong-willed, or just, that think the same way and that
Right.
want and have the same values. And so you do.
Tremendous span of control that you have there and working
Yes,
with
thank
EAG. So
you.
that's really exciting. And so with your area, how did you get started?
Yeah, so it's actually a joke that the partners of my company and I kind of laugh about. They've been trying to get me to come over for a couple years, and I said I never wanted to be a recruiter. So they were actually a vendor of mine, and they're the ones who got me one of my jobs. They're the ones who placed me somewhere. And it just happened by fate that I called one day and said, hey, I'm looking for something. And they were like, well, we're here. And I walked in the door and have been loving it ever since. I've been there a little over a year. So, and I think the biggest thing I love is, and it's kind of like Debra touched on, the network and the connecting with people. And if I can help somebody find their next job and realize their potential to do something different, or even help them realize that maybe they do deserve to get paid more. Or you should be, want to pivot your career. I pivoted my career about 5 times. Started out as an event planner, and then went into Accenture, and then, have done HR, recruiting, a bunch of stuff. And to know that you can pivot and I can help someone with what they want to do with their future. It's just very rewarding for me.
And so both of you had worked at Accenture as well.
We did. That's
Yep.
actually where we met.
Yep.
Yes. So very, very exciting. So I'm wondering if it requires a special skill set in order to be a recruiter or to work with people in programs, in your estimation. So what are your thoughts?
I think absolutely. It's, as we all know, the markets change and companies, everything's changing right now. And so there's a lot of resiliency we have to have, and the ability to bounce back. So, and to flow with the change. Everything changes, and so you can't get stuck. You have to be able to pivot and move around and get excited about things. And I think also just the genuine care of other people is a very big part of it. I love everyone I work with, whether I just met you over LinkedIn or I have known you for years. It's just fun getting to know people and helping people. It's a big part of it, whether you're in HR or recruiting or even consulting. You're helping people find their solution or find their next job or something that makes them happy, and it's rewarding to do it.
So, that really takes a special touch with people. I mean, it's more than just the interpersonal communication skills. It requires the ability to just exude that warmth as well, and to let people know that you're being authentic when you're working with them. So I'm wondering, when you work with people who come in and they may have some, distance that they are feeling, they don't feel altogether comfortable, how do you go about bridging that gap and getting them to be a little bit more receptive to a culture in a work environment where people are able to have that psychological safety?
So 2 things I'll share on that. So I learned at my time at Accenture, did a skill finders assessment, and one of the ones that I discovered I am is called a woo, which is win others over.
Yes.
And that made sense because in my consulting career, I've always been put in the positions where they were like, this is a really tough person, they're very resistant to this project, go figure it out. And I was like, why do I keep getting put in this spot? And then I was like, oh, I'm a woo, that makes sense. So so with that, what I found is what I realized I did naturally, but what that really is just having a nice conversation with somebody, saying, hey, tell me what your thoughts are. People want to be heard. They want to know that you're listening to them. And then usually through that I could find, okay, I hear you. Here's what this is actually trying to achieve. And this is why that's okay. And so really helping bridge that and kind of become that middleman. But yes, that is definitely a skill that I didn't realize I had, but have discovered that I have, and I still use it today. And it's that softer side.
Of course, of course, and I think that's something that really appeals to people, to recognize that you're human, you're a supervisor, you're human, yes, but they can feel a little bit more comfortable in interacting with you as well. And it's really interesting because I'm also a Gallup certified strengths coach, and so when you make reference to woo,
yes, you know it.
I know,
I do too. Yep, I just did mine a couple months ago.
Did you do?
And I have very little woo, surprisingly.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I know. It's surprising.
Yeah.
And that is why it is so important to have people who have those kinds of relationship building skills, in influencing skills as well, to work well with others who may be a little bit more distant and new to the organization, to kind of break down that barrier they might feel. Yes, please.
I was going to say the other aspect of that I wanted to share was the people smart side.
Yes.
And so at EAG, we base a lot of our, well, not a lot, we base all of our recruiting and our performance off of a piece of it is a book called The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. And that's the characteristics of humble, hungry, and smart, with the smart being people smart. And so that is definitely a skill that we push and we look for all of our employees, but then also that we encourage and help teach, and that's something that I found in my role. I'm continuing to help teach people because that is part of that, pivoting to what you said, and just paying attention and saying, that didn't land, that communication didn't land the way I thought it was. So let me shift it a little bit, or let me not just leave you with that. Let me follow that up with, hey, it looks like, maybe you heard something different. Let's talk through that.
Sure. So humble, hungry, and smart. I think that's really very impressive. So tell us about the hungry part. Is it for the person himself or herself? Because they have that hunger, they're going to try to engage and to achieve success within the organization?
That they want to.
It's the drive, right?
Driven.
It's a drive.
It's
It's
having
the
a drive.
Motivation.
Yeah. How that's really very, very good. I think it's really interesting because you were making reference earlier as well to onboarding and how important it is to have the proper onboarding for the newcomers to an organization. So briefly tell us just a little bit about that, Ms. Mitchell.
Right. So back on my HR days, onboarding to me, it's most people view it as someone's first day of work. Let's just make sure they have everything they need. And onboarding actually is a full life cycle of a process, right? So when you first start the recruiting process, it never actually ends. And onboarding is just one step of that, of getting people acquainted and understanding that they are welcome and they're wanted within an organization, and what's the best way to put your foot forward on that, on both people.
It sets the tone.
Yep.
It does for the organization. That is that person's first experience as an employee, and if it's not a good one, guess what? They've now walked out of that onboarding and into their actual role, and that's going to portray into anyone else that they interact with, and for both of our organizations and to their clients. And we want our clients to have a good experience, and how can we expect that if our people didn't?
Yeah, and it's the same for consulting too.
Yeah.
You got to onboard the consulting projects, the same thing.
Of course. Well, we're going to take another break, and we will continue our conversation in just a moment, so please stay with us.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of Houston. Whether your goal is a 4-year college, a better job, or a whole new career,
Come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. We're continuing our conversation with Ms. Debra Seale and Ms. Lee Mitchell. So thank you both very much for staying with us. You know, the conversation is really very engaging, and I think it's very insightful as well. A lot of the information that you've shared is just absolutely those nuggets that we need to hear. And I'm wondering, as we now look at how you inspire others, how do you now reach out to companies, for example? Some of them may be some of our viewers who are watching, and they want to know how to get in touch with you and how you might be able to support them. So what is the next step in your organization when they contact you?
Right, so of course, you know, there's always, you can Google us and find us on the web. But I think for us, especially on the recruiting side, if you don't already know someone within our company, because a lot of the work we do is within our network, it's LinkedIn is probably the easiest way. You know, most business professionals are on LinkedIn some time throughout the day, and for sure recruiters are on it all day long. And so it's just the easiest way to reach out and say, hey, I've got the problem, or hey, I don't know if I'm happy in my job, I need help, I need guidance. How does my resume look? You know, can you coach me on how to have this conversation? And just reach out, and we'll be willing to have the conversation with you and get the introduction and hopefully build a relationship.
And that relationship building is really very important. And what about with your company?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is definitely one of the forms. We have a pretty big presence there as well, and can certainly get in touch with us through that format. But really the easiest way is to go to our website, and you can click like request or request information and fill out that little form. It sends an email straight into our sales team, and they'll be in touch and help coordinate just the right conversation based on what you're looking for.
So how do you inspire others? Now, we have a lot of students who work here, and a lot of students who've come through our programs, and they've graduated, and some of them are looking for employment and so forth. How do you now inspire others to come into your company? Because I presume that you recruit not just for persons who are in a specific area of your company, but across the board. So how do you inspire and then recruit others who might want to join your company? Do you use the same process that you do for companies?
Probably similar. I mean, with us, it is a lot of, you know, we do a lot of reach outs to people that we find on LinkedIn, and then we have people that reach out to us and kind of cold call us and the same to ask and just say, hey, you know, and a lot of times when it's candidates, they're usually passive. So that means that they're not actually looking. They're in their job and don't realize there's other opportunities out there. And so it's us building that trust and inspiring them to want to talk to us and say, hey, we've got an opportunity. I don't want to waste your time. Will you just give me 5 minutes? Let me tell you about it. And, you know, 9 out of 10 times that person wants to hear what's going on.
Certainly.
And then you build that trust, and then through that trust, the relationship just grows, and you can either help them find a new job, or maybe I end up helping them hire for their team. So it's
very, very good. Yeah. And so what about the credentials? Do you look specifically for persons who have certain kinds of degrees to work for your companies? Ms. Seale?
Yeah, for EAG, it depends on the role. So our consulting, typically we find engineering degrees work really well. That is the one position in the company that does require a degree. And but yeah, engineer. I mean, anything though. Like I have a genetics background, so I am very different. It's not a hardcore thing, but we also have on our BPO side. Certainly, you're looking at more of the accounting specifics. But that being said, there's a wide range of accounting degrees, and we are definitely open. We do production accounting as well, and mathematical degrees work very well in that side of the organization. For me, especially for those entry-level positions, in addition to what Lee said around LinkedIn and just having that conversation and coordinating that way, we have a lot of our job postings that are also on Indeed and some other applications, but LinkedIn as well, obviously on our website. They're all out there, but we do have an internship program, which is going into its second year this summer. And that's been a very big pivotal thing for us. So we've had quite a few interns come through our organization. It kind of ebbs and flows with the business. So I'm actually just figuring out what our summer internships are. And then from there, we've also hired quite a few of our interns. So probably about 6 now, which is pretty exciting.
Excellent. I find that I think experience trumps most credentials. So certifications are fantastic. You know, the degree is good. But if you can, like Debra said, find internships while you're going to school, it is beneficial and really crucial to being successful later on once you graduate. And it also opens more doors for you to be able to find a job. And so those internships, you know, you find a company that has a good program and they are really beneficial to your career, much more than, I mean, the degree is important, but the hands-on experience and the learning how to be in a business setting and how to have those conversations are very important.
So what about the externship opportunities for example, faculty members or persons who are going through our business program, for example, and they want to come in, they're teaching, let's say if they're teaching business or they're teaching technology and so forth, would there be an opportunity for externships as well with your companies? Do you encourage those types of opportunities? You do?
Yeah, so most of our clients do, and as well, a lot of our clients have a return to work program now for mothers that have had to take time off with children and wanting to come back. So a lot of our clients are doing that now, and there's a lot of open doors that used to not be there. That help people that want to be successful.
So tell us, give us the contact information. How would anyone who's viewing get in touch with you? Let's start with you, Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, sure. I would recommend, for me, honestly, LinkedIn is how everyone gets a hold of me.
Very good.
Lee Mitchell on LinkedIn. I look just like this, but a different colored shirt. It's same hairstyle, everything. And just friend request me and send me a note and say, I'd love to catch up. I'd like to get to know you, and I'll make time for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for you, Ms.
Yeah, LinkedIn is a great way to reach me as well. Again, the website, eag.com. is great to reach out to all of us and the whole company. You can see our entire leadership team. I'm on there as well, same picture that's on LinkedIn. But as far as probably direct contact, that would probably be the best way because then I can control it a little bit more and it doesn't risk getting lost in emails or accidentally going to my junk where I don't get it. That's going to be a way more controlled source.
Well, you know, it's really interesting how things have changed. It used to be, well, let me give you my telephone number.
Get in touch with me. Yes. So here's my business card that no one keeps anymore.
Right, I don't have those anymore.
So that's kind of like I say. So very, very good. Very, very quickly, any recommendations that you would like to make in about 10 seconds? We'll start with you, Ms. Seale.
Yeah, just telling people the world is so open and out there. Like you just take an idea, run with it, see where it gets you, and don't be afraid to say yes to something new.
Excellent.
I used to give trainings to college students back in the day. My biggest, nugget for them is build your network. Don't be afraid to reach out and meet new people and build that network because that's what's going to help you in the rest of your career. It's how I've gotten all my jobs. That's how Debra's gotten most of hers. And that's how we've built the relationship we have is through our networks and build that network. You can't start too soon.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'd like to thank both of you very much for joining us. Marvelous conversation.
Thank you for
very
having
helpful information.
Yeah.
And we will wish you continued successes as well. And we thank our viewers for watching as well. We will see you again next time.